Yet many people appreciate the idea that we'd be willing to offer a free book, and many of them are curious as to the message of Christianity and how it applies to liberty, and many of them are more or less sympathetic with the idea that there has to be a moral element to liberty, or it becomes a form of anarchy. And so we had varying degrees of acceptance, a little bit of hostility, but that's to be expected in a libertarian crowd. My father once called himself a Christian libertarian because the fundamental tenet of libertarianism is liberty. And he wanted to emphasize the aspect we need to be Christians first and understand our liberty in terms of our Christian obligation. Liberty has to be understood in a context. And if liberty is in a context of the rights of the individual, then the individual becomes supreme. Why have a movement? Why have a constitution that merely protects the individual for selfish or personal reasons? Liberty has to have an ultimate good for it to really mean something in a social order. And so liberty also always has to be understood in a context. For instance, my father often gave the example is that we're free, but morally we're never free to yell fire in a crowded atmosphere. That could create panic. It actually can endanger life. So there's always some limitation on freedom, not just from the pragmatic thing of endangering people's lives physically, but also morally. There has to be some constraint on freedom. And that's where the Christian message can't be diluted. So we can't just emphasize freedom. We have to emphasize freedom with responsibility, and man's responsibility is always in terms of the Word of God.